Just want to start the video off by saying hope everyone had a great Halloween, despite everything. I know I never make videos like this, but then again, I never make videos period anyway. Basically, I just thought it would be fun to take you through a step-by-step process of how I made Knock Knock, the short film that I posted last week. If you haven't seen it yet, it will be linked at the very end of the video, as well as it's in the description and in the card. Basically, the idea for Knock Knock came around when I was pitching an idea to a few filmmaker friends that we should all get together in a group chat. Everyone make a short film within a week before Halloween, then we all watch it Halloween night. However, I was the only person who ended up going through with it, but I don't care. I'm happy that I made it, and I think it actually turned out pretty good, considering everything. The actual premise for the movie is actually based off of something that I go through quite a lot. I have this weird phobia of weird noises going around my house. A lot of the time I'd be sitting by myself and I would just hear things like, and there's no one there. So I thought that'd be an interesting concept for a horror movie, considering the fact that it was coming up to Halloween, so might as well get into the spirit. And it's something that I'm familiar with, so I knew how to make that scary, because that was already something that was kind of spooky to me. Working entirely by myself, setting up the camera like this, shooting myself, I got the entire thing done from starting shooting to the end of shooting, editing and then publishing it within 24 hours. That's something I'm actually quite proud of, because it's not easy to make a short film in a day, let alone when you're doing it by yourself. But before I actually went out and shot it, I originally did a sort of animatic storyboard, planning out how I wanted the film to play out. There are elements of this original idea that ended up making it into the final film, and there are elements that ended up not making it into the final film. Everything from when the film starts off to when the door slams behind me the first time is actually how it played out in the original idea. However, from that point on, I knew I was going to run into some problems. Low light, doing things by myself, and time being the main factors. In the finished movie, there's a scene where I come out towards the door and you only see my silhouette, and then there's another scene where I grab a hammer and go up the stairs. In the original idea, those were both the same scene, where I would grab an axe, walk outside where you only see my silhouette, see what's going on before the door closes behind me and I hear knocking from inside the cabin. So when I did my actual finished storyboard that I was reading off of when I was shooting out in the cabin, I couldn't do the original shot I wanted to do of walking all the way outside because you would not see my face in the dark. Plus, I'm shooting on the Canon M50, which doesn't really do well in low light. Pretty much in the finished version of the movie, I cut out the whole section where I go out and check it the second time. Instead of having that backlit shot of just my silhouette coming out through the door being when I go out to check it the second time, I rearranged it in the timeline so it would be when I actually open up the door for the first time. It doesn't look as cool as me coming outside with an axe, but if I ever remake the movie, say if I have an actual crew next time, who knows, I might get that shot next time. And instead of having an axe for the finished film, I thought it would be just a little bit too hard to actually see the axe as I walk up the stairs. In the finished movie, I changed from me grabbing the weapon being an axe to being a hammer, because I thought it would just look a lot better on camera. Mainly because I'm shooting in such tight spaces like walking up the stairway up to the loft. If I was holding up the axe, I'd have to hold it up really high so you could actually see it. And I'd be holding it so high up that really, if I was going to use it on whatever is up there, it wouldn't really do me all that good. Originally, this shot I took of the loft with complete darkness, it was supposed to have two glowing eyes up at the top of it. But I couldn't, for the life of me, get the effect to look good and not look super fake. And also in the finished movie, it has a bit of an awkward ending where I come back down the stairs, ask who's there, and then the lights flicker out. But originally it was supposed to be I'd still be on the stairs and I'd hear a knock coming from behind me. I look down and see the monster's hand at the light switch, it smiles at me through another door, and then turns out the lights. I fall down on the floor, pull out my lighter, light up my face, and the monster is seen in the glow in the background. The main reason I didn't end up doing this is because the door that he was supposed to be hiding behind didn't actually close the way that I wanted it to. Granted, I could have had the glass pane on the front door covered up with a curtain or something, but I actually preferred being able to see through the glass, because if you hear a knock at your door and you can see there's no one there, it makes more sense why the character would be confused. And I actually posed really quickly while I was shooting so I could actually get a creepy face that I could later edit in Photoshop. But coming up so close to Halloween, I just thought I didn't have the time, plus I thought it would be a little bit cooler if you actually don't know what's after him. And the reason why I ended up shooting my hand on the railing instead of on the stairs like in the original plan is because you would actually see me up in the loft if I did it from that angle. That loft is a lot smaller than it looks, and it was actually a lot brighter than it looks. If I was hunched up there and I tried to get a shot where you could see my hand and not see my face, it wouldn't have worked. Granted, maybe I could have done it if there was somebody there helping me, like setting up the camera in a way where you wouldn't be able to see my face but be able to see my hand. Keep in mind, everything I was doing I had to do with pretty much autofocus because I couldn't get exactly a focus pull when I'm up on the loft. with my hand there. Granted, if I had somebody working the camera, maybe I could have done it, but if I'm trying to do everything myself, I can't exactly be running back and forth between the loft and the camera and making sure that everything looks good, especially since I was shooting at like 3 AM. The reason why my character smokes in the movie is because I planned on having the cigarettes as a source of practical light that could actually light up my face in some of the darker shots. The same with the lighter at the end. However, like I said before, the Canon M50 doesn't do well in low light, and any sort of flicker from the lighter or the cigarette was not detected at all. So what I ended up doing was I took out my little aperture light, put a tungsten gel on it, and I ended up having the same effect as a warm glow from a lighter. I mean, sure, it's a bit static looking, but if I had somebody sort of running their fingers over it like this, it would look a lot more like a flame. But again, did everything by myself at like 2 AM, so I didn't have anybody to do that. Then when it came to editing, things started to get a little bit sloppy because I had to fix problems that I wasn't paying attention to when I was shooting. Things such as the way that I would constantly look back at the camera, making sure that everything's in focus, being a DOP director and actor all at the same time. As you can probably tell by this, I'm still not really comfortable being on camera just yet, like I keep looking at my screen here instead of looking into the lens. So imagine how I am trying to be an actor, director, and DP all at the same time. Then effects-wise, the movie was actually really simple. It was basically just masking. Then when it came to the scares, pretty much everything was done with audio. Such as the knock, which if you were listening to on headphones, probably made you think that there was actually somebody knocking on your door. Hello? For some of the early shots, I actually forgot to turn on my microphone, so there was no sound whatsoever. I went and just took some humming from fluorescent lights and I just put that over it. Then basically did some really easy Foley by breathing in line with myself smoking. Then once all that was done, I just hit export and then uploaded it. And then I realized I just made a movie in 24 hours. So this just has me on a complete creative boost right now. Because I was able to make a short film within 24 hours. Imagine what else I can make, given more time. So I hope you enjoyed looking at the sort of behind the scenes look. I don't know if I'll do something like this again, maybe, maybe not. Maybe for something that has a bit of a more interesting story behind it, not just me shooting by myself in a cabin. So yeah, now I've returned to YouTube, and I have actually got a few videos in line to be made. And I think you guys really enjoy them. I don't really have an outro, do I? I don't know if see ya! That's stupid. That is awful. Awful.